Welcome to Kung Fu Havoc number 2. This is the final part of whatever the title was going to be when I install it. If you watched the first video and you just watched the second video, I found the video on Instagram and I posted it here. And it's kind of a crying shame that I had to show that. It's kind of a crying shame that these people did that. It's kind of a crying shame that no one understands how bad this looks in the black community. Alright? And not too long ago, and I'm not going to dig that video up, not too long ago, there was a young black woman who was pro-Trump and anti-Black Lives Matter, and she went and smeared the whole thing, and then the next damn day she did something else, and something in New York, and all this other crap. I don't live in New York. I'm sure it's going to affect us somewhere down the road. Then there was another white lady who got to fighting with a Native American lady over Black Lives Matter, and the Native American lady took her can of paint, and the white lady said, "I'll just go get more." I said, "Go ahead, I'll just keep taking it from you." So, as a society as a whole, we are fucked up. I'm sure you guys probably saw that coming, but we are fucked up. And it's not mattering what color a person is right now. What's mattering is that we, as Americans, are fucked the fuck up. Alright? Period. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It's not about your gender. It's not about your ethnicity. It is about the fact that we are not being humane and we are fucked up. Alright? We are fucked the fuck up. No one's doing anything. I'm sorry for swearing. This language is bad, but no one is doing anything to make positive change. The video I showed you in the last video of this saga has proven that we are fucked the fuck up. Alright? Without question, without remorse, unapologetically, we are fucked the fuck up. Alright? Now I said this because it was the simple truth. I am multicultural. I am Cherokee. I am black and I am white. And I will be all three of those until the day I die, or 23andMe finds out that secretly I'm Chinese. Which would be cool too, because I do Kung Fu. Anyway, moving on. The fact that I started this video saga with the fact that when people of color or non-color do things, mixed people feel this differently. Alright? We feel it more than normal people. So I want to end this saga on that fact. I make videos like this all the time. I prefer to make Kung Fu movies, scary movies, science fiction movies, to reach out to the heavens, and so that all of us can have something to enjoy and live our lives. Sadly, I'm making this movie. I'm making this video. I'm making this point that we are fucked the fuck up. See, when white people do things, other white people will shake their head and say, "Damn, I can't believe we did something that damn dumb." When Asian people do shit, and that includes Native Americans, it's the same thing. But this is how this works in their community. If Asians aren't fucking with other Asians, it doesn't really affect their community. If whites aren't fucking with other whites, it doesn't really affect their community. And when whites are fucking with other whites, it doesn't really affect their community. When Asians fuck with other Asians, it doesn't really affect their community because it's like two kids fighting over a piece of chalk. But when black people do shit, no matter how small, no matter how big, it fucks up not only their community, but it gets the other communities of races against them. So you could be an Asian person and your best friends could be black. But the second one of those black people fuck up, this association is a thing. And it's not that you are a bad Asian friend. It's just that that black person who you knew, who would never have done that in your presence, just showed you who they really are. And it could be viewed that way. But from the black perspective is, oh, this motherfucker was down with my friend. And then they'll throw some Asian derogatives in there. But you were their friend. They just fucked up. Started doing shit that was out of character. Now, if you're really their friend, you're going to stick by them regardless of what they've done. You'll probably be the one that bails their ass out of jail. Which only proves that you are truly their friend. But at the same time, sometimes you have to give your friends very humble and peacefully advice. Which would be, yo, dude, you know that shit won't cool. Why the fuck would you do that? You've never been in trouble a day in your life. Did you just have like a black moment and decide, hey, I want to fucking be black all the way through to the bone and just fuck shit up? Or did you just lose your skull for a second? Were you not thinking, you don't have money for jail? Why the hell would you go do something stupid? But, you have black and white friends and Asian friends that are going to go to bat for your ass. So those are your true friends, the ones who don't disassociate your ass because you've done something incredibly stupid. However, here's how I view that also, because I know my friends. I know my friends as well as I know myself. Sometimes better than I know myself. I've had my friends do some stupid shit. I will not bring them up, but I will bring up their situation. One of my friends, not both, they're more like my brothers than friends. He liked to smoke a little bit of greenery. And one day, they caught, because him and his wife both smoked the greenery, they caught their son smoking the greenery. Because their son found their stash, their oldest son. And I love that boy, because he's my nephew. And they were about to whoop his ass. And they jumped down his throat. And I mean, they literally was heartbeats away from beating his ass. And luckily, Uncle James had arrived just in time. Pulled up in my little yellow Honda. And they were arguing with him and sending him into the house. And I just caught the ass end of it, And so when they came in, they were calmed down. And I walked in right behind them like, what the hell are y'all doing? Why are y'all after him like that? What the fuck did he do? And then they both looked at me and said, this little fucker was smoking weed. So my old ass and my wisdom, and I said, hold on. I said, I love y'all, but you're not going to like the next thing that comes out my mouth, so let me be frank with you. I love y'all, but y'all are dead fucking wrong. And it's like, what? And this calmed them down. This calmed them down really, really fucking quickly. I said, y'all are dead fucking wrong. It's like, and how you figure that? I said, okay, let me put it to you in a loving and peaceful manner before y'all kick me out your fucking house, which you probably will after I say what I gotta say. I don't tell lies, and you're not gonna like what I gotta say. But how can you condemn him for the shit you are guilty of doing? I said, you don't think when he's up in that window that he's not looking out the window at the two people he loves more than life itself? I said, look, if y'all outside smoking in the barn, which is where they generally smoke, they never smoked in front of the children. But you have windows. Everybody who has kids know damn well that a kid is curious. A kid will look anywhere and everywhere but where you tell him to look. If you tell a kid to go watch TV because you want to watch something that a kid is not supposed to watch, and you have an upstairs and a downstairs, if you don't hear that room door close, that kid is not in his goddamn room. That kid is at the back, at the top of them steps, where he can crawl down and look just like this over that little triangle crack that the wall and the banister has. And he can be there, and if he wants to watch a TNA movie with you, you'll never fucking know it because you don't know what to listen for. Because somehow or another, when we get adults, we forget the shit that we did as kids. I don't. But he could crawl down there, and they'd never fucking notice him. Which I had pointed out. If he's at his window, which faces the barn, and he looks out there and see you and all the other uncles and family members out there, with the exception of me, because I don't fuck with the greenery, having a blast, do you really think he's not going to try it? Do you really think that if you have beer in the house and you decide to leave your 13-year-old son there and you have 4 cases of beer, 12 cans each, you drink a beer, you don't keep count, he knows you don't keep count, you think he's not going to go down there and pop a cold one and down that bitch and throw it in the recycling bin because there's so many cans there and you're just going to go back in the refrigerator because you like your beer, but you don't keep count of that shit. So he's going to know which beer he can drink and which beer he can't. If you have beer in a bottle, it's easy to keep track of a 6-pack in a bottle. Not so much in that 24 can pack to keep track of. So I jumped down their shit and I said, no, y'all are wrong. He's learned it from you, just like the commercial says. He's not my child. But I damn sure wouldn't beat him for doing some shit that I do every day right fucking in front of him. And they stopped. And they thought that shit through. And they didn't kick me out their house. They were still mad at me. But after I talked to them, they knew I was right. Because you can't whoop a kid for something that you're guilty of doing right in front of your child. Whether you want to own it or not, whole nother ball game. I need a breath mint so that I don't go get a midnight snack. Also, PSA, don't sleep with these things in your mouth. It's very, very dangerous. But yeah, you know, you can't beat your kid for the shit you're guilty of doing. You can't. Because it's not fair and it's not right. So, I know you're thinking, what the hell is the relevance to that? It's a big relevance to it. Because you know your friends. Which goes back to, if my black friends get in trouble all the time, I can still hang with them. But if they're going somewhere where I know I shouldn't go, I'm not going to go. Which is why a lot of those people who are probably friends in that video that I showed you will probably be sitting in jail tomorrow and wondering how the hell they got into that position. Well, there's cameras in the store. You're getting rowdy. You're smashing up shit. Those cameras can't identify you. Really? If you're in that video and you think those cameras can't identify you, not just the guy with the cell phone, but the store cameras, those big black globes, they're cameras. And if you think they can't identify you, you are as dumb as a box of rocks. So, when black people do stuff, mixed kids feel it. When white people do stuff, mixed kids feel it. When Asian people do stuff, mixed kids feel it. Now see, when Asians do things to Asians in Asian communities, the kids still feel it. But it doesn't really affect the black community, so they don't give a shit. It doesn't really affect the white community, because they don't give a shit. But if there's a mixed kid in that community, and he's half Asian and half white, so let's say his name is Bobby Lee, like the comedian. Now Lee can be a white name as well as an Asian name. Remember, General Lee. So let's say Bobby Lee's daddy is white. Bobby Lee's mom is Chinese. And guess what? Her name's Lee too. Let's spell L-I. Just to throw that in there. So Bobby Lee's mom watches their neighbors get to fighting over some shit that's really stupid. How much rice to put in the wok for a certain recipe. Bobby Lee's mom is their friend, so she tries to intervene, winds up getting hurt. So Bobby Lee is now angry at his Chinese side because they fucked up his mom by accident. They stopped fighting because they had to take Bobby Lee's mom to the hospital. But Bobby Lee feels that shit. So now he has a tiny bit of resentment to his Asian side. That's where I was going with that. Let's say it's in reverse. Bobby Lee's dad is Chinese and his mom is white. Now, their mom is a great white lady. She married into a Chinese culture. But the community that Bobby Lee lives in don't like his mom because she's guai-po. Or if she was a male, she'd be guai-lo. So they don't like her because she's guai-po. They talk about his mom in Chinese behind her back. Bobby Lee, living in a bilingual home, because most Asians that I know personally speak both Chinese and English, or whatever their ethnic overtone is, their native tongue, and English, because some of their grandparents just didn't learn English. It's not because they're stupid, they just chose not to learn English. And their grandparents, they came in from the old country just for a visit. They're not moving there to stay, but they're there for a visit. So Bobby Lee has to go speak to his grandmother, his dad's mom, in Mandarin or Cantonese, or one of the other 10,000 Chinese dialects. But Bobby Lee's mom, she's learned Mandarin to communicate with her mother-in-law, just for the sake of the love of her husband and her children. But Bobby Lee's mom is hurt by Asians. Now Bobby Lee, who's half white and half Asian, is mad because he knows when they're saying bad shit about his mom. His mom doesn't know because she's white. So if they're doing all kinds of Chinese stuff and talking about her while they're at the salon, you know, she's gonna just smile and bear it because she might not be sure what the fuck they're saying. It happens. Trust me, it happens. So, her husband, who won't tell her what the fuck they're saying because he loves her dearly, and he's gonna confuse her if she repeats some of the shit that they say about her. You see where I'm going with this? So now Bobby Lee's starting to not like his Asian side so much because of them hurting his mom, who's not Asian. That's why mixed kids feel that shit. So you have a white kid who's white and Asian. Now you have a white kid who's white and black. He grows up in a home where his dad is white. His dad's not about white supremacy. His dad's about fair and equal treatment to all. Because he has a black son. So he has to raise his son to not just be white, but to be black. But his son's off-white in color. He's closer related to white in color than black in color. So he's passing, kind of like my mom could. Now he doesn't want to get involved with things, but he hears how people are talking about his mom. You know, because his mom's brown. And he hears how everybody's talking about her. You know, he's mulatto. So he hears how everybody's talking about her. All the white people in his family. We don't like that. Your dad's an in-lover and all this other shit. And now he's starting to hate his white side. Mixed kids feel this shit more when one part of them fucks up in society. This is where I was going with that. When I put that comment down, that this thing has made me ashamed to be black, there's no taking it back. There's no I'm sorry. It's the truth. And mixed kids, as I've made a video of this before, we don't have a mixed kids support group. White kids can have a support group because white kids all get along with white kids. Asian kids have a support group. They get along with each other. Black kids have a support group. And 9 times out of 10, in all 3 of those support groups, it's reject the half-breed. So when you're not mixed, you have no idea how well or how hard we take shit like this. We take it harder than all of y'all. You know why? I can walk among black people and get along with them for the most part. Right up until they give me that odd, awkward look and say, yo, what's up with this cool cat right here? What he mixed with? Because he's not black. Y'all think I've probably never heard that before, right? Let me remind you, I'm 47. The same thing happens with me on the white side. Dude! What's up with that cool cat, dude? What's that dude mixed with? Because he ain't white. And he ain't right. Like I said, I'm 47. Think I ever heard that? Now, as far as the Asian community goes, this is the fun part. Because I've never been rejected by Asians. Never in my life have I been rejected by Asians. I've only had 1 or 2 awkward moments with Asians, and that was like in grade school, where me and this cat that was from Vietnam got to arguing, and he said something about me being a half-breed, and that got the ball rolling for me to throw a Chinese joke at him, or a Chinese insult, depending on what side of the track you're on. And I said, well, you need to go home and eat your goddamn rice cakes. And then he got me back really good, and he won that one. He won that one with the simple fact, he said, and this is funny as hell, because it was happening to me. He said, man, fuck you. I ain't even Chinese. I'm from fucking Vietnam. I was like, Vietnam? Where the fuck is that? It was before I knew about the Vietnam War. So I'm like, I started, he's walking off, and I'm thinking, okay, like, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Vietnam. Where the fuck is Vietnam? No, I had to go home and start asking. So then I thought about Vietnam. But that was probably like the only real incident I've ever had with a Chinese person or an Asian person in general. Generally, whenever I hang with anybody who's Asian, I have been very well accepted. And it's probably because most of them think that I'm one of them. Because you'd be surprised at how many times people have thought that I was Polynesian. So it's like, yeah. So, as we end this, I will give you the Asian approach to me. Alright, so when I used to relax my hair before I found out about baby oil and hair grease and how it can mat my curls and keep my hair straight, as we're rocking right now. Crown World, you guys should give me a job and an endorsement, because you're my favorite hair grease. And Johnson & Johnson, baby oil, works very well. Anyway, so whenever I was like 23, and I bumped into a few Asian chicks, like elderly, and this was at Alderman Library at the university. They worked in the coffee shop, and I worked for Airmart, so I had to go and take stuff from them and take it back to my job, or go pick shit up from my job and take it to their job and all kinds of stuff. So one day, and I can't remember her name to save my life, she's a very beautiful old lady. I mean, she was like one of the sexiest elderly Asian chicks I've ever seen in my life, because she couldn't have been more than like maybe 50. I'm 23, so she had to be somewhere between 50 and 60 years old. But she was beautiful. Believe me when I tell you, she was beautiful. And she goes, "Young man, I want to talk to you real quick." I said, "Okay." I said, "I know you probably get this a lot, but what is your ethnicity?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm black." She's like, "No, what are you mixed with?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm also Native American and white." She's like, "Oh, okay, cool." Again, this was before I found out that Native Americans were biologically Asian, so. And then, I started getting it from other people that were Asian. I'm like, "Are you Hawaiian?" I was like, "No." There was a really hot Hawaiian chick when I worked at Airmart. And, she looked like my celebrity crush of Kelly Hu. And so she asked me, she said, "Are you Hawaiian?" I looked at her and I said, "Baby, if I was Hawaiian, I would never leave Hawaii. Not for the cold weather in Virginia. You couldn't pay me to leave Hawaii. Well, of course, unless a volcano erupted or something and I had no choice, but leave Hawaii? Hell to the no." So then, there was an actual Hawaiian, who was a real Hawaiian, and she asked me if I was Hawaiian. I said, "No, but I would love to marry a Hawaiian." She's like, "I'm sorry, I'll get a boyfriend." So I was like, "Okay, cool." I wasn't specifically meaning you, but she was very, very beautiful. And I also told her, if I was Hawaiian, I would not leave Hawaii to come here for this hellacious weather. And she's like, "That's because you don't live in Hawaii, and we have everything but snow. When it's hot, it's hella hot. We get cold at night, but we don't get like cold. I said, "Oh, so it's like Canada, where it's hot in the day in the summertime, it's hella cold at night in the summertime?" He's like, "Yeah, it's kind of like that." I said, "Okay, cool." So I could survive in Hawaii, because I could survive in Canada, just not in the winter time. He said, "Well, we don't have winter." I said, "Exactly. That's why I would never leave fucking Hawaii." He's like, "Don't you like the snow?" I said, "Man, I've been here all my fucking life. Hell no, I don't like the snow. Can't stand that shit. So if I ever get famous enough, I'm buying a fucking compound in fucking Hawaii, and I'm never leaving other than to go make movies. Unless somehow or another I hit the lottery and we can make movies in my compound." Okay, so I want to end this video on a somber note, because I just gave you guys my experiences with blacks, whites, and Asians. So, with all the good, there's always bad. Alright, and we know this. I've given you many stories of how I've had white people call me half-breed, how I had black people call me half-breed, and then I had Native Americans call me unpure blood. So, when people of one side or the other of my ethnicity fuck up, I feel that shit. I know that when I go to a mall now, and especially if I wind up somehow in Wisconsin, because believe it or not, I didn't even know black people lived there. I kid you not, I did not know that, but apparently black people do live in Wisconsin. I know that if I go to Wisconsin, if this shit doesn't be fixed by the time I get there, that I'm never going to be safe in a store. Ever. Because these black people just fucked it up. It's the same thing I said when the wealthy black people went to China and Donald Trump had to go save them, because instead of paying for the fucking sunshades, they just decided, hey, fuck it, we're just going to steal. What did that do? They fucked it up for more black people in China, and tensions between China and Africa was already on a rise as it is, and it still is today. because there's a lot of Chinese companies moving into Africa, and they have been treating black people really badly. But you can't really blame all the Chinese for the people that have done that, because that would be like exceptionally racist. But they're going back and forth, and personally, I don't give a shit. Let those Africans and Chinese fight each other. That's not what I'm about. I don't think anybody should be racist to begin with, but I can't change your mind here. If you're gonna be racist, you're gonna fucking be racist. There's nothing I can do about that. But what I can do is try my damnedest to open your eyes, if you are racist, to understand we're all in this together. There's not gonna be one solitary race. There's enough of us all to procreate, be happy, and truth be told, people like me, multicultural, people who have 3 races, 3 bloodlines, we're not as widespread as you may think. We're more of a commodity, but we are your future. We're just not going to be like the entire species of humans. You know, you're overreaching if you're thinking that's going to happen. It's not going to happen. Because for everyone who falls in love with someone who's not in their race, who's not in their culture, there's going to be just as many people who fall in love with people who are in their race, who are in their culture, who understand that they're not being racist. It's just what they want to do. And on a further note on that, because I get this a lot, so I can close out and go to hell to sleep, because I do have class tomorrow, and I do have to work tomorrow. On a further note, the laws of attraction is a thing. I am not really attracted to black chicks. I am very attracted to Asian chicks, Spanish chicks, and white chicks. It's nothing personal, unless you count some of the bad experiences that I've had with black chicks. Now, does that mean all black chicks are that way? Fuck no. But also, I have to be attracted to them to want to pursue them. And sadly, I am not. Is it wrong? Hell no, because you can't help who you fall in love with. You can't help what your eyes and your nether regions are attracted to. Or your heart, which is the most important. Your eyes help you see the people. Your nether regions helps the procreation process. But your heart leads to the fact on whether you are going to procreate. But that person that you are wanting to procreate with has to feel the same way. They have to get to know you. They have to fall in love with you, because you fall in love with eyes first. That's not a lie. You're not really attracted to people who are not somehow attractive to you by eyesight. Of course, let me change your mind before I end this video. As you see me, I'm an average Joe. This is where we copy Daredevil. I met Deadpool. I'm sexy as hell now, because you have no idea what the fuck I look like. Especially if you just came in at this part of the video, which is the end. Thanks for watching. Be seeing ya.